Hello, third grade friends. It's Mrs. Sardina. You may have noticed that today there are two video links for you. So this first video link, I'm just going to do our read aloud from our new mentor text, The Whodunit Detective Agency, The Diamond Mystery. I'm going to read chapters 2 and 3 to you from this book. And when you're finished with this read aloud, you can click on the next link and we'll get to our lesson. So chapter 2, A Desperate Man Seeks Help. Before Maya could move an inch, Jerry leaped up, ran up the stairs, and opened the front door. Standing on the steps was a man with a bushy black mustache, wearing a striped wool hat and wet shoes. It was Mohammed Carrot, the richest man in all of Pleasant Valley. Mohammed Carrot owned the jewelry store on Church Street. His store was famous all across the country, from New York to Los Angeles, for its spectacular diamonds, rings, earrings, and other fancy jewelry. What could the jeweler possibly want with Jerry and Maya? Jerry showed Mr. Carrot down to their small office in the basement. There's a picture here of Mr. Carrot. "Welcome, Mr. Carrot. Please sit down," said Maya, gesturing toward an empty chair. Mohammed Carrot plunked down in the armchair and removed a handkerchief from his coat pocket. He was sweating, and Jerry and Maya could see that he was nervous. "Well, what can we do for you, Mr. Carrot?" asked Jerry politely. "I'm desperate, just desperate for help," said Mohammed Carrot. "I saw your poster on the streetlight outside my store. Are you still accepting cases?" Maya and Jerry nodded and eagerly took out their pens and notebooks. "As you probably know, I've owned the jewelry store on Church Street for many years, and business has been booming," started Mohammed Carrot. "People come to my quiet little store here in Pleasant Valley from far and wide, but now it seems my luck has run out," he said, and he blew his nose into the handkerchief. "What do you mean?" asked Jerry. "My trust has been violated, that's what I mean," exclaimed Mohammed Carrot. "One of the people working in my store is stealing my diamonds, I'm sure of it. In the past month, 5 extremely valuable gems have disappeared, and I have no idea how. I am a very cautious man. I require everyone who works in the store to empty their bags and pockets before they go home, but I never find anything. Nothing has been carried out of the store. I am absolutely certain of that." "Well, what do the police think?" asked Maya. "The police have been investigating and keeping watch since the very first diamond disappeared, but they don't have a suspect. They said they can't do anything until the thief makes a mistake and gives himself or herself away." Mohammed loosened the tie around his neck. "Soon I'll be ruined and will have to close my store," he sniffed. "Without my famous diamonds, my customers will quickly lose interest in my jewelry store altogether." Jerry and Maya could see that Mr. Carrot was really upset. "This is a tricky situation," said Jerry, scratching his nose with his pen. That helped him to think. "The police can't do any more to help, and they don't have a suspect. Is that right?" "Absolutely right," replied Mohammed Carrot, "but I have an idea. I'll hire the 2 of you to work in my store. While you're working, you can secretly keep an eye on the employees and tip me off to any suspicious behavior. You can help me find who has been stealing my diamonds. Are you interested? Please say you are." Maya and Jerry exchanged a quick glance. "We'll see you tomorrow." Chapter 3, The Investigation Begins. The next day, the sun was shining brightly. Maya and Jerry each packed a bag containing their detective kits and took the bus to Church Street. They got off in front of the hotel just down the road from Mohammed Carrot's famous jewelry store between the cafe and the post office. Jerry and Maya walked to the old church so they could get a look at the store from across the street. The store was at street level, and Mr. Carrot owned the 2 floors above it. "So there's a diamond thief in there somewhere," said Jerry. "Are you scared, Maya?" "Oh, come on, let's get started," scoffed Maya, dragging Jerry toward the store. They crossed the street and opened the front door. A bell chimed as they went in. Maya looked around carefully. An elderly assistant asked if she could help them. When Maya asked to speak to the owner, the assistant led the 2 detectives to an office at the back of the store. The assistant knocked on the door to the office. "Come in," they heard Mr. Mohammed Carrot call. Maya opened the door and Mohammed Carrot stood up from behind his desk. He walked towards them with his arms outstretched. "I'm so glad to see you," he cried. The Then he lowered his voice and whispered, "Another diamond disappeared yesterday. That's the 6th. I can't understand how they do it. I need your help now more than ever." Jerry noticed that the elderly woman lingering in the doorway, she seemed to be listening curiously. "You can go back out in front, Vivian," said Mohammed Carrot, shutting the door behind her. "Let's get started," said Jerry, as they settled down on a big brown sofa. "Could you tell us about all the people who work here and what a typical day in your store looks like?" Mohammed Carrot took out his handkerchief and blew his nose loudly. He walked to his desk, opened one of the drawers, and took out a few photos. "The store opens at 10 a.m. and closes at 6 p.m. At some point during that time, a diamond always disappears. The whole thing is impossible to explain. I'm going mad," he yelled. Mr. Carrot, please try to calm down," said Maya. Excuse me," he said as he collected himself. "Other than myself, there are 3 people who work here." Mohammed Carrot passed one of the photos to Jerry and Maya. Here's the first person, Vivian. Vivian Linder, store assistant. You've already met her. She's the one who showed you to my office. Vivian works in the front of the store and helps the customers. She's been with my business for many years, and she's always done an excellent job. But she ran into some trouble last year. Her house burned down, and I believe the insurance company is refusing to pay her any money, explained Mohammed Carrot. Apparently, Vivian was behind on some of her home insurance payments, and so now she's short on cash. Last week, she came into my office and asked for a raise. I'd be happy to help her, but as I am sure you can understand, there's no way I can afford a raise right now. Jerry scratched his nose with his pen and made a note in his notebook. Suspect, Vivian. Motive, needs money. Mohammed Carrot then passed them another photo. Here's our next person. Danny Braveheart works on the 2nd floor just above the store, he continued. He cleans and polishes the jewelry before it's sold. To be honest, Danny is a bit grumpy for my taste, but he's always on time and he keeps things orderly. He is a trustworthy employee. Danny's dad actually owned this store years and years ago, Mohammed Carrot went on, but he had financial problems and he had to sell it. That's when I bought the store. Otherwise, Danny would probably be the boss today. Jerry didn't have to scratch his head or nose this time. He wrote down, suspect, Danny. Motive, wants to take over the store. Mohammed Carrot passed Jerry and Maya the 3rd and final photo. Luke Smith works on the top floor of this building. He cuts diamonds and sets them into elegant rings and necklaces. Luke hasn't worked here very long, but he's careful and very good at his job. He worked in the jewelry business for many years, and his previous employers were very pleased with him. Luke likes nice clothes and fast sports cars. He bought a brand new car just last week, actually. Mohammed Carrot laughed. You should have seen Danny Braveheart's face when Luke showed up in that new car. Danny looked at that car with disgust, and then Luke with loathing. 380 horsepower, Luke bragged and patted the hood, to which Danny replied, You only need 1 horsepower if you choose the right one, and he stormed off. None of us, Vivian, Luke, nor I, understand what exactly he meant, continued Mohammed Carrot. Danny was definitely in one of his grumpy moods that day, but like I say, Luke Smith is a nice guy. He's into fitness. He's always going for a jog and carrying around an apple to snack on. Jerry wrote in his notebook, Luke Smith has plenty of money. Where does it come from? All right then, I think that's all you need to know, said Mohammed Carrot as he sprang up from the sofa. Now I'll introduce you to the staff. And we're going to stop right there. Click on the next video link to get a link to our lesson, and I'm going to read the first little bit of chapter 4 for you.